I'm gonna flop, not swap. I'm gonna flop over here so that I can start the timer. Oh, not pause it. Reset. Add 1 minute from yesterday, the follower. And then start. Sweet. Alright, let's see if Tits is working. Or if I gotta restart that. Seems to be working. Okay. Is Delumius working? Okay, cool. Now I'm going to disable preview because I don't need to look at that right now. Not energy today. By energy, I mean energy drinks. Took my medicine because I'm a good girl.
Good gal.
0 viewers. Nobody loves me. Kidding. That's fine. We'll show up. It's fine.
I'm still setting.
Huh?
I'm still setting up.
Ah! There's a boar. Go away. But you'll be my friend. You want to be part of my family? I don't know if I have a boar yet. Be my family. It's my first boar and it's got infinite stamina. Just my love, darling. You get an infinite stamina boar? I think so. My boar can run for days. Predator pal. Get it. Yeah, I thought that was a level 13 boar. I think it was level 3. No, they're level 11. What am I talking about? It was level 13. Why do these levels look like level 1? I don't know, man. First one was... Oh my god, I'm stupid. The whole reason I was standing there in the first place is because I was waiting for my diary how to come back to life. Come back, baby, come back. Do you have the Spotify playlist or jam link? Okay, good. Oh, so I woke up. Thousands of berries.
Nice. That seemed to work.
Yeah. Just need the AFK in game. And if I wind up getting a little glitchy, I'll probably restart, but because I haven't restarted the game.
Yeah, we might be a little bit glitchy.
And if it's on for too long. I got quite a few pals today, chauffeur. I have a Bushi that has motivational leader, and I think I'm gonna hold on to that one since I don't have any. Like, I mean, that extra 15% attack might be nice, but the motivation leader might be really good too. For like building stuff. What do you think between the two?
Well, the 3 things I mentioned, huh?
Hooligan, which is plus 15%, or motivational leader, which helps my work speed.
Ooh, motivation early could be really nice.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, so I have Roxy for transport, Bushi for main damage, Herbie for survival, Plum for backup damage, and which is Daydream. Looking at transporting. What else did I want? I wanted a lot of random shit. I just throw balls at things. I got 4 monkeys. I have 3 mouse that I got from a cave. Why do I have so many fucking cows, dude? wanted to get a different Kelpie because the one that we have, or the one that I have, is reduced species. It's lazy or whatever. None of these are much better. I have a Kelpie with ferocious.
Fear the Kelpie.
I have 2 Puffolts. Ringtail. Would I rather hold a Broncherry right now or a Grintail? The Broncherry has heavyweight and aggressive, and the Grintail has nothing.
Well, you don't have either's saddle.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Okay, so neither. Neither makes sense. Fair enough. I forgot that I needed the saddle for those things to work. Maybe I'll find something that has a good passive for me. Like this monkey that has Stronghold Strategist.
Monkey.
That increases my defense.
Yeah.
So I'll do that. I haven't asked you. Oh, by the way, I looked up something, right? Because I leveled up and I was like, oh, okay, so I made myself metal armor, right? And I was like, okay, so when do I unlock metal armor usually? Babe. Level 12 when I leveled up. This is why, okay? Because I noticed when I leveled up, there was pelt armor. I skipped pelt armor.
We did skip pelt armor last time. I keep forgetting about pelt
No,
armor.
I mean, I'm wearing
Metal
metal armor. I got a schematic. I'm wearing metal armor.
Oh, nice.
I don't even get metal armor unlocked until level 23. That's 10 levels from now. I'm ahead of the game. Yeah, the Grintail and Broncherry saddles. Grintail should be soon.
Pig Grintail is before Broncherry.
Oh yeah, it is. I just mean even level-wise. Yeah, Grintail's level 19. And Broncherry is level 33. I love, like, actually being at the level. And it seems like we're actually there for a decent time, you know? It's not like oh, we just made this and now we're up to the next level. And it's just like constantly upgrading. Like once you finish upgrading one, you got enough experience to upgrade to the next one, you know? I applied transporting handbook. That was nice. There's one. I think I want to try catching a Lunaris. Just for the extra weight. I think it'll be nice. And I think I can. It's just gonna be tough. Mostly because she teleports. It'd be a really nice early game though, that extra weight. Also, I noticed the Dinosom that I have, right? I noticed that that Dinosom has insomnia. She's been chopping wood all night.
Wait.
Wait. I'm gonna try not to scratch my ear today. I also got a rare metal helm schematic. Babe,
Honey?
if you come to my base with the crossbow schematic, I might be able to make it.
Oh, yeah.
Because I
It's gonna
have
be a
the high
purple.
quality workbench. Brando, how you doing? My mouth is so fucking dry, dude. Nom, 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 nom. I have a drink, and I've been drinking it, and my mouth is sticky.
I am still coming to terms with reality.
Yeah.
Getting things set up. Oh yeah, I closed the Lumia a little bit. It's the difference between a morning person and Aiko. Or, no, and Tristan. A morning person.
You say what's the difference, or this is the difference?
And this is the difference.
Tristan needs to get good.
I'm a scrub.
Get good, scrub.
Ah.
Had better days. What's going on, huh? Who do I need to fight?
Yeah, who do we need to fight?
Ass am I kicking today?
I like how I can just snap my neck and my phone Face ID goes off.
Huh?
I like how I can just snap my neck to the side, and even though my phone's on an angle,
No.
Face ID still connects.
That's funny. It's like, wow, you got your head at a really severe rotation. Guess I'll try. Been talking, flirting with someone for a few months now. Kind of got a crush going on. Chatting with them today. I'm talking to someone kind of seriously. Oh man, I'm so sorry, Don. I'm sorry. That sucks. It really does. It'll happen. Just means that it's not the right time. Not necessarily with that person, but just not the right time. You might just not be that person. I'll get you a person. But I understand. A few months is kind of a bit to be told now, you know? It's like, oh, you're talking to someone kind of seriously? I mean, me too. For the past few months, actually. Never been in any sort of relationship. Had a crush for like 6 years. Or had a crush in like 6 years because the kids and stuff. Dana, that sucks, man. I'm just... Fuck. I wish I knew what to say to make it better, but there's nothing I can say to make that better. Not right now, other than just like... Just wasn't the right person. No, I know. It's just...
Weird.
Here. Yep. Oh no, you're totally fine. Thanks, Stricken. That's totally fine. Welcome in.
Still getting set up,
Thank you for the lurk. Yeah, Tristan's still getting set up. Thing is, it's like, this is me. This is me in the morning. Vroom vroom. Be honest with you guys, because I feel like you guys deserve my honesty. Tristan asked me what I wanted to do today. I was like, hope nobody wants to play a community game. So I can play Palworld. I will absolutely play a community game. It's a subathon. That's what you're supposed to do. I want to play Palworld. I just want to play
We can do whatever the fuck we want.
It's true, but I don't want to like. I want to still stay true to the whole like.
Why am I so small?
What?
I am really small.
You're very small on my screen because you're right in a trash can. You want a small feed bag?
I got one.
Okay, good. It's actually decent defense right now. Fuck. Alright, I'm making it. Look, it's not bunny ears, but that's decent defense to me right now. It's a rare metal helm. So it's got like 80 defense on it.
It's not registering me changing scenes, so it's not moving me with Lumia.
Are you like shift tabbed in is there any kind of like weird overlay going on in YouTube Studio?
There's no overlay going on. I've restarted Lumia, restarted OBS.
Did you check the connection between your did you check the connection between Lumia and VTuber Studio? Did it say it was connected?
I haven't unconnected it.
Yeah, there's not necessarily like it doesn't always. Sometimes it just disconnects on its own. How you doing, Nikki? Nikki, do you have sleep? Oh, you did. How are you feeling today? Actually, are you feeling better?
Okay, yeah, Lumia's not connected.
Go into your
Yeah, I just need to reconnect it.
High five. Getting ready for work. We love Reps have an amazing stream. Thank you. Yeah, sometimes she gets disconnected. Sometimes you need to like make sure to go over to VTuber Studio too, because you'll need to like re-authenticate it sometimes. It's just random. That's why like when I log on, there are two things that or before I log on or when I log on or something like that, there's two things I do. The first thing I do is I throw stuff at myself, and that is to make sure not only is it showing up on stream, but it's going to the right place and the audio is being picked up. But then I give myself head pats because I want to make sure that Lumia is putting forth the audio, but also that Lumia is interacting with VTuber Studio. Actually, still the same day for me. I'm feeling a bit better. Oh, good. I'm glad.
It still isn't.
A different day for you, so I'm glad you're feeling better. Did you get some sleep? Did you at least get a nap or something? Oh my god. The sad thing is because of my Bushi right now, this is 25% increased work speed. And this is still so slow. That's good. I'm glad. We went to sleep, and then I woke up, and then I started playing Palworld, and then Tristan wakes up, and he's like, how you doing? And I was like, I want to play Palworld. And he's like, okay, get me a drink. So I got him a drink. And now we're playing Palworld. And Tristan's, I don't know how he's conscious right now. I think he's just excited about Palworld too.
And did you drink?
We tabbed out last night. We didn't log out of the game because we wanted to make sure we got plenty of spheres and stuff from and make sure the berries and stuff. But don't get mad, I'm still going to work tomorrow, but tomorrow shouldn't be too bad of a day. It should be easier. No, that's fine. I wouldn't get mad at you for going to work. You went to work yesterday, and then while you were at work, you realized you weren't feeling well. And then you got some rest when you got home. So if you're going to work tomorrow, like at least if you make sure that you're feeling better. Tristan, did you get a follower?
No, I'm testing stuff.
Oh, okay.
It's not even going through the OBS.
I need to relog OBS. Reload OBS.
And that's why.
Did you do it as an emissioner?
Yep.
Did you close out of Lumia fully?
Yeah, I'll close out of Lumia fully.
Like
Lumia's
Task
fine.
Manager closed out?
I'm not sure if Tom.
Because if you close out of Lumia, it just goes into the it just
I
goes.
have the quit option.
Huh?
I have the option to quit it.
Oh, I never use that. Makes you feeling better for you. Good.
Yeah, it closes out it fully if you use that.
Okay.
Yeah, let me try.
Proud of you.
Yeah, open Lumia as an admin as well. I mean, I've done this before, but.
Check. I'll be right back. You know, I'm just making this helm anyways. Nothing crazy.
Okay, I didn't reconnect the VTuber Studio this time. So if I connect here and then allow. Doesn't connect, not active. But also if I go into Lumia and then go to save, which point?
Connected.
It says it's connected. And then I don't know. Okay, that's coming through on OBS now.
Yeah, but it's not giving you headpats over here. Do you have that set up properly? The headpats thing?
Yeah.
What Lumia? What do I mean?
Edit. Yes. Actions. Headpats. There's no point testing it because it's just not connecting to. It's just not connecting to VTuber Studio. I don't know why it's not. Lumia stream not connecting. I done that. Done. They're both open as admin.
Oh yeah, you're not using fresh. I saw that pop up too.
Okay, click refresh again. Which isn't connected anymore.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it just connected.
I'm just gonna put this to you.
Now it's saying VTuber Studio is connected. And hey, finally! Took like 6 times of fucking refreshing it and everything.
That's the way it goes.
It's the way it be, you know.
I just do a bunch of resetting complication bullshit. Gonna be
Should be out and hide.
Look at my defense, 232 right now. Now it is 287. I want my bunny ears though, but I can't get my bunny ears until level 21.
Forever 21. Starting soon.
Forever.
No, This. Hopefully. What the fuck?
Effort to get my fucking bunny ears on. I'm wearing them now.
I'm gonna keep these on my screen. There's the stats.
Not that. Walk around the world to ease my troubled mind. I left my body lying somewhere in the center time. I watch the world go to the dark side of the moon. Stuck on my strict scared. I'm going to head out and get more rest. Hope you both have a great stream. Thank you. You have to sleep well. Good night from you. Good morning for you guys. Thank you. Yeah, it's morning. It actually is morning. Thank you. I watch the world go to the dark side of the moon. After all I do, I gotta be something to do.
I think I'm good to start streaming now.
Happen now and then. Long as you'll be my friend at the end. I'm gonna have to redo these doors or something because it's gonna piss me off. If I'm alive and where will you be there? Holding my hand, I'll keep you by my side. My superhuman, my kryptonite. We took for granted all the times I never let you down. You tumbled in and bumped your head. If not for me, then you'd be dirty. Back on solid ground. Ooh, metal chest and cooler box. Yes, yeah, motherfucker. There's all my downstairs storages, man. If I go crazy, then will you still call me Superman? If I'm alive, then where will you be there? Holding my hand, I'll keep you by my side with my superhuman. Oh my god, bitch, bitch, move! I swear to God, I'm gonna punch this fucking thing. Plum is gonna die.
Who's gonna die?
This fucking daydream. Trying to place something and she's just like, hey, what's going on? I will punch you in the titties. Sorry.
My bumby.
Bitch.
Okay, and then from here I go start sharing chat. And then chat should be enabled.
It is. Yeah.
Good.
Of course, I'm using a fucking lucky daydream, so she's even more obnoxious than usual.
Oh my god, it's gonna be so big.
Yeah. Get in my fucking way. I'm trying to build shit.
Yay. Okay. Hello. Oh, hi, Christian. Yeah, you are early.
Good morning.
Even swapped the screen over. Welcome to the missed us. You're waiting for a stream, aw. Oh my god, my Vixie's been doing overtime. Oh my god. I can hear myself. Why can I hear myself? Why can't I hear myself? What am I hearing myself for? This is muted. This is muted. Oh my god, things are lag. I think it's just lagging, registering the hearing thing. Yeah, I got a good amount of bones from
Pixie.
Vixie, yeah. Let me try and find my bowl. Where is my bowl? How are you doing, Christian? Yeah, let me take the crossbow schematic. You have things for that. Oh, there's my balls. Found my balls, my love. Look at the amount of arrows, too. Is it just arrows that the crossbow uses, or do they have special? Yes, stream elements.
She's
Oh, I know
arrows.
you're in.
Don't quote me on that. I just think they're arrows.
Yeah, we've got fun and games. Okay, my love, where do you want me to put the schematic?
Oh, I have not made it that far. Up here, I guess. I'm making this chest. You can help me build it. This is probably where I'm gonna keep my schematics.
You got banned because some weird people saying sexual gay stuff and they reported me, so I'm suspended?
What? Confused. What?
Okay.
What happened?
What? Friction?
I'm confused.
Where was this? Is this Discord or something? I saw that you joined the Discord and your account was like brand new.
Jungle baby. Yeah. Alright, let's see about making a crossbow. Come to the ground, go won't you come? I can make it, but I am lacking nails.
I have nails that I've gotten from
I'm
thing.
making myself some nails. Let's see how long it takes.
Mind if I make one at your base too?
That's fine. I just want you to, you know, provide some metal because it's 17 ingots.
Ooh.
That is a much better attack. I'm making one for me. I will help get the materials afterwards for you. But
I have ore. I'm on it.
Cook
On my
that
Xbox,
shit.
I can't leave chat.
Cook it.
Oh. Weird that you were the one that got banned, though. It was on Xbox. Still got like no berries, but that's because I have very bad gatherer and very bad waterer. So
Oh really?
I just eat them all. But I've got a ton of milk.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I can make all the ingots myself. I just need my flambell to bell flam.
You can't leave this chat? Is that what you're saying?
No, I think it's the Xbox chat where people are saying stuff. Xbox is a fan of banning by association with certain chats.
muted your stream, but then I thought I was hearing you doing at the same time.
Thing is,
So I can see YouTube chat, yeah. Oh shit.
song makes you think of the Scooby-Doo X Kisses movie. Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Now I can see both chats.
Both chats, YouTube and Twitch?
Yeah.
Nice.
Look, I just split screen over here on this.
Yeah, that's how I usually do it. I can't get enough of you, baby. Can you get enough of me? Pardon. This is more accurate to the time we have been going live before the Subathon started. Around midday.
Oh yeah.
Maybe a little bit earlier than usual, but
Time-wise, yeah. Like it is a little bit earlier because I know that I would wake up, take my meds, and then have a little bit of sit before you joined in. But I mean, that's kind of what happened.
yeah. Yeah, Aiko was up before me doing some basic things in Palworld, and
I was just catching another Grintail, another Brawn Cherry, and apparently some Calamari and some other shit I found in a cave.
Yippee, shapeshift.
Although I did make a prediction and was correct about it. As I was walking towards the end of the cave, I said, guaranteed this boss is going to be a fuddler. And it was. Why? Because I didn't want a fucking fuddler. How I knew? I said, man, this is going to be exactly what I don't want.
It's 4 nails, was it? I believe it was 4 nails. Yeah, my condolences, Christian. I hope
I've been at this workbench for 84 years.
Oh no. Suppose I'll come over and help you craft.
No, it's okay. You do what you gotta do.
What I got to do
You gotta make your metal.
Yeah, I was supposed to just wait for the flambeau to
Oh no, of course you got the fun bell doing it, poor baby. Do you have an R-Sox?
Nope.
Okay, you're gonna need to get one of those. There's a boss R-Sox.
Yep. There's a boss. Yo, ball, catch the lift monk. Go, other ball, catch the other lift monk. Don't make me whack you with a club. Okay, you're good. They're both good. They're both good and got caught.
That's so funny.
Thank you for the movement effigy. I will take the movement speed.
It is so funny because where are you in?
The awesome thing though is my flambeau came with insomnia, so
That's nice.
might not be fast, but it goes all night. Sexual beast.
Oh, the next recommended video underneath yours is like somebody's using nail polish as cream for their cake. Yes.
What?
Look. Look, tab over here. Look. Most Disturbing Cheapskates, Volume 2. It says you polish used as cream. They put fucking nail polish on their food.
Oh. Ooh, I got a rent. Oh, I'm gonna give Vixie a star fruit.
Oh, smart.
Do you want to know how to get the star fruit?
Yeah.
Do you have the watchtower by the small settlement?
I do not have the watchtower by the small settlement. I can go get it.
It's not the watchtower itself, it's at the, like, just under the watchtower, there is a man there called Harold.
Harold! Right. You said your Vixie was already 2-star?
My Vixie was a 1-star, but it came with farmhand.
Oh, that's...
And I can level it up with a star fruit. Now it's got 3 ranching and is 1-star, so I can actually get, like, I don't think it's getting megaspheres, but it is going to be reducing a lot more regular spheres. You're gonna head off to Beth. You, Tio, have good night. You have a good Beth, Brando.
Have good Beth. Good night.
Have best Beth.
Well, who's Tio? Why is Tio going to have a good night, not us? Damn it.
Yes, we saw you join the Discord, Richard.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice. Ah, level 10.
Take me to the place I
More
love.
the nails.
Move your big ass head, dude.
Natalie's first this time. Oh my god. I never have.
She's.
That's first in my stream.
Oh my god, she didn't say hi to me. Like, bitch.
That bitch.
Kick her ass.
Did you hear that, Nat? Your ass is
Oh,
getting
it's first
kicked
the other
by
day,
Nat.
too. So
Your
she's
first
coming
the
for
other
you
day?
first.
In my stream?
Might have been on mine.
I think it was Aiko's stream. Probably. I don't know. I don't think it was mine. Okay. I've got my ingots, got my nails.
I don't know how to help you. I'm not even halfway done making this crossbow.
Don't worry, honey, I'm coming to help.
You're gonna have to get a friend to help you, dude. Bring a helpful, like, handicraft friend. Do you have motivational leader? Do you really think your dire help's gonna help?
Do I have motivational leader? I don't think so.
How you doing, Nat? I'm just making a crossbow, don't mind
I
me.
do. Ooh, I do on 2 pals.
Cuckoo. Coo. Choo. You're a potato, me too. I'm just sitting here. It looks like I might be doing something, but I'm not.
Can I do that? Okay. Oh no, it moved Bucci off. Let's put Bucci
No!
We do not play Roblox, no. And we probably never will play Roblox. It's not our style of game.
Do I have?
I've seen people play Roblox, and it's just
If I have a good handiwork pal.
it's just full of children. We
Are adults.
are adults play games.
For adults. Ooh, this one will help.
Like children.
It will help. Great.
And yeah, there's a bunch of worlds, a bunch of other games like this. You can play Call of Duty in Roblox, but why wouldn't you play Call of Duty?
You ready? You ready?
If you're gonna board it. Ready? Oh, the body book.
2 handicraft.
Let's go.
And increases efficiency by 200% when working at a weapon workbench, weapon assembly line, or other related facility.
Nice. I got a T-Fed and Chicky with motivational leader, which is really nice.
Well, just having them in your party helps you.
Yeah, my work speed is 225.
Nice.
I'm in my party.
I can make a metal chest now. I'm gonna need more metal, but you know.
I'm probably gonna do dungeons.
That's fine. I'm probably gonna do dungeons too, but elsewhere.
The dungeons are gonna be good for speed remedies, and maybe a speed elixir if we get lucky.
I got, I don't know when, I got 2 vital elixirs.
Ooh.
And I got,
Get a supply drop?
yeah, I did actually.
That would have been with the Pardon me.
Disgusting.
I'm disgusting. Roblox and Fortnite.
Also, if you want to,
Games we will never play, but we appreciate their presence because it keeps children out of other games.
okay, so if you want also, because I have the metal schematic, you can use my workbench to make a metal outfit, if you want.
Oh, I can use your metal activate. How much metal do I need for the metal outfit? Fork knife. Yes, fork knife. I know, 2 weeks. Honestly, Fortnite, like the single player, had such good premise. Not single player, but like the tower defense.
Yeah,
Had such good premise.
my ex said the same thing. Mona!
Oh, Mona, it's been a little bit. How
Hi,
are you doing?
Mona. How you doing? You like our new models?
Yeah, is this your first time seeing our models? Although,
It's because we've been waking up. It's because we've been streaming later. And this is usually when Mona shows up.
yeah. We're sorry we've been streaming late.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, you have to come to mine. We can't like do the
Not while,
VTuber
not
multiplayer
while
on main
Palworld,
screen.
yeah.
It will just kill our computers.
I do apologize. You can't tell me not to. I'm going to play. I'm going to cosplay a Canadian. I'm so sorry.
Sorry, eh?
I tend to forget to show up sometimes too. No, you're good. You're good.
You are more
Now we
than
have to make a
fine.
second crossbow. And I don't get to check to see how much metal's needed for that outfit.
Well, the base outfit requires 30 ingots, so it's more than 30.
Whatever it was.
And it's okay. No one is obligated, required to show up at all, Muna. It is purely.
Except for you, Mona.
I
Only
accept.
you. You're required to show up, so you know. How dare you? How dare you not be here the past 2 days when it was like hours past your usual show up time? Hours, and by hours I mean like 12 hours past your usual.
We are calling the police. We will.
Dare you not schedule your entire life around our debut? Damn.
Typically, we go live when you're asleep.
Yeah. Went to the basement with you. You can't ignore us now. You were here. And you're here now. We'll just steal you at any random time. We were talking about yesterday, Nat. Yeah.
We were talking about yesterday. Only the worst thing.
We had a long conversation about puppies. And animals and stuff like that. So, like, the subject of you got brought up as, like, being a fosterer. And we're talking about how you get puppies, and then you take care of them, and then you cast them to the street. You're like, get the fuck out of my house.
Sometimes they return and the street just doesn't understand that puppies take work. How often has that happened?
Only way to do it.
The street requires puppies. No, we love it when anyone anyone can make it. Like there's no requirement. There's no. We stream for fun.
Nat.
And let's share the fun with other people.
Yesterday we had so many people watching on YouTube.
We did.
It's
We
weird.
somehow got into the suggested video feed on YouTube.
And we had like, what, over 1,000 people watching us?
We peaked at 1,275 people watching at once.
Jesus.
And there was 3.1k total.
Stay for a bit, but I may not stay long. I didn't even sleep last night. Mona.
Oh my god, it's just because we're live you're gonna sleep. Yeah, I see how it is.
I was torn between giving you shit for going to sleep and then giving you shit for not sleeping.
But yeah, please take care of yourself and sleep if you need sleep.
I think only 3 of yours have been returned. Still, that's like a lot. That's 3 people that are dumb.
Yeah, it's typically when they get a puppy and don't realize puppies are a lot of work, right?
You'd miss that because Twitch booted you out.
No.
Ha!
Oh,
I said,
Alexa, turn the lights on. Turn all the lights on.
oh, maybe. Yeah, that'd probably be helpful.
Alexa, turn all the lights on. That might help. Yay, I can actually move my mouth when talking.
We were just sitting here in the dark. I probably wasn't moving at all. I don't know because I have my preview for OBS off. Because if I have it on, it's like, tries to lag me out. It's like, oh, excuse me. You want to look at multiple screens?
I can do it
No.
as long as it's full of pals. But by full of pals, I mean like 30 fucking dromedars.
One of mine hasn't come back, but that wanted to return him, but just never returned him. Whoa!
No, they ate him.
They actually did cast him to the street. Now he's a wild mongrel. Eating
What we
out
were
of
saying,
trash cans with the raccoons.
please take care of yourself, get some sleep, and it was definitely because we went live that you became easy.
Maybe we just provide those good relaxing vibes.
Possibly. We'll try and aim assist. Yeah. We'll try and aim assist.
Don't shoot the puppies.
Yeah, like that's why cats disappear with puppies. Because getting a puppy is like getting a child, but the child never grows up.
The 3 copies is wearing off. Fucking mood. That was me last night with my monsters. And I just fucking crashed.
We even had a coffee frappe and still crashed.
Yeah, I was so tired.
Thank you for helping me with the cat.
Oh my god. So right as we're laying down to go to sleep, Nat, guess what happened? We got a little scratch at the door. And Kit Kat came in and took a nap with us. It was so sweet.
One of Ashley's friends adopted the one that hasn't been returned yet. Oh, that's good.
Well, at least you know where it is, so you can hunt the bastard down.
Yeah. Kit Kat joined us in the room. He was sleeping between us.
It was really sweet. Because normally he doesn't like to be up by us. He only wants to be next to our feet. But this time he like curled up right in between us. It was amazing.
He did get up and just leave at some point. Though.
Yeah, he did.
The 4-year-old.
Which is fine, because like I really needed to roll. I can't sleep laying on my right side. I need to sleep laying on my left side.
Hello, Mona. I see that you're in my cat.
Ah, I see. You're looking at the new model. I thought you were saying, oh, that's so cute about the cat. No, I know you're just talking about Tristan because he's so cute.
Oh my god, I'm ugly.
You're so adorable. Look at you.
My little wifey down there in the
Thank you for the sub, Battery. Welcome in. Battery, are you following me? I don't recognize Battery. I feel bad now. Was this on purpose? Was this an accident?
Welcome in, welcome in. I wonder if it's a case of a name change?
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's a case of a name change. I don't remember iBattery. Thank you for the sub. I will add that on to the subs that we got for the subathon. I am confused. Did you have a name change?
Do we know you as a different name? Or did you just feel like subbing because
I mean,
we're cute? I don't know.
I mean,
My wife is cute.
I also love subbing to people I've never met or followed before.
Some people do.
I mean,
Some
it could be cool,
genuinely
yeah.
do.
Or is new friend? Maybe. Maybe. I don't. I'm gonna check.
Welcome in, new friend.
I'm gonna
or
go
old
stalk
friend.
iBattery.
Thank you for the crush bar, my love. My damage is going from 65 to 448.
Whoa, that's a lot of badges. Holy fuck. I see. Lots of badges.
Oh, they're collecting badges.
Maybe. They have an ugly sweater badge. That's kind of cool. I don't know what any of these mean.
Crossbow.
Oh, now they have a Heartblossom 2026 debut badge.
Let's go.
They're like, oh, a free badge, sweet. Or not free badge, I guess. They still have to pay for it.
Oh, a badge that costs money. Sweet, got it. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Maybe our
Yeah.
massive badge collector. And we
It
had
means these
badge
models
to
can't
collect, and
fight.
they're like, I must have it.
Basically, how the subathon is working is we're so addicted to this game that we're not gonna, like... Why did I just miss? Oh my god, I one-shot Foxbox. Yeah. Get back here, you bitch.
Oh, you played The Quarry? I'm looking at your clips. Don't mind me. I'm just stalking a little bit.
I was stalking you, friend.
The Quarry was good. That was such a good game. I played it on shit graphics, though. I feel bad. I was lagging like crazy for it. But VTuber things. Did you get your crossbow?
I got my crossbow, my love.
Okay,
Thank you.
and the answer is 37 metal.
I will
37
get
metal, 12,
on that.
12 leather, and 6 cloth.
I will get on that at some point. But yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Um,
It actually looks like I'm making cloth at a reasonable pace. Well, reasonable for...
Yeah, we love our new models, Muna. But as I was saying, how the subathon is working is we want to play Palworld, even if the time is up. So when the timer is up, we don't end stream, we just put our models away on our PNG tubers.
Yeah.
I will join Aiko in the trash can.
And I will join Tristan in the trash can.
Yesterday we had a giant Animal Crossing scavenger hunt.
It was exhausting.
Aiko definitely finished it, yeah.
I definitely totally didn't switch to Palworld while Tristan continued doing the scavenger hunt because I was losing my mind. Totally not.
Yeah, not at all, yeah.
Never. I'm just thinking about it. I'm just like, hated it. I hated it so much.
It was just the Star Hat. And a few other things for you. Oh, yes.
I was like, why was I making cloth? I knew I needed cloth for something. Right, duh. So I can make a rug for my room.
Important things.
Look,
Oh,
okay, it is important.
oh, the forest stuff didn't work. Sorry, Muna. I don't think I have tits up. And Nat also redeemed head pats.
Yeah. That's interesting. It's fun. It's a dog.
Don't worry, I will throw something on your behalf.
Oh, I hate that. Hate it. Hate it. It's gotta be moved.
Go.
I need to remove these chairs. At least that one. Those two.
There we go.
I'm going to kick your ass.
What did I do?
Not yours. Fucking daydreams.
This tab and then that work? Have I got brain damage? No, I can't even feel it anymore. Let me do it again. Yeah. Ah, bike. I got all the brain damage. It's no different from usual. Muna,
Muna.
Muna. Um, not
Muna
again.
is Earth name for moon.
We will probably still be here when you wake up. We only like just started, so please just rest well, get as much sleep as you can, and
I won't be here. I'm leaving. Leaving right now.
oh no, she's ended stream early. No,
I'm kidding. Was everyone
not
good?
kidding. I'm serious.
Why did my headpads not work now? Why?
Why are these Rushells just floating?
Sometimes shit works. Sometimes shit don't work. Nobody fucking knows anything anymore. Oh, it might be. It might be. Nope.
Got all the Rushells I need. Yeah, thank you for stopping by.
That don't work. Again, time I can have headband. Oh, I headband my damn self. Yeah. This doesn't want to work when Muna does it. No, she's leaving. It's trying to make her not leave. From everybody. Don't put a stone in here. This is not where stones go. You know it's cool.
Yeah, don't throw things at me.
That was very aggressive for no reason, Matt. Bitch.
I have very bad sewing.
Did I break this thing over here? I did not.
My house keep dodging my pell spheres. Good thing I got 7 million.
7 million? That's a lot more than me.
Yeah.
Are you exaggerating slightly?
Never. I've never done that in my life. Yeah, how are you today, Nat? Is your back feeling better? Or I guess your whole body?
You call my sister and ask her the same thing.
Oh, true. For different reasons, but yeah.
How are you doing today, Kaylee? How's your back feeling? Is your back feeling better since you've had, like, your boobs removed? Acting like it's all of her boobs. It's all of them. She has no boobs anymore. She removed them all.
All 7 of them.
All 7. Now she only has 6 left. Don't know why she had 13 boobs.
The unlucky number, she was the devil. If she has removed them. Oh, so. I'll just remove them. Solves all problems. Definitely no such thing as phantom pain. Whee! Yeah, I've got good wood generation. I got me an Ixity. Times 5. Eek thy beer.
And there's some of those downstairs tables up here, too.
Dungeons somewhere around here. I think it's over this way. Yeah, are sore from patting all those puppies and kitties.
Life must be so hard.
I pity you. Because I pity the fool and you're the fool. It's a newbie pal tamer. Hey, buddy. Okay.
I love just randomly fucking catching on fire. I'm so dumb.
Okay. I love randomly getting challenged by a newbie pal tamer and then just shoot him in the head a bunch of times with a crossbow because he's like, I will never surrender. I will only fight to the death. Never even shot his gun. He had a gun and just kept getting beat up by my dial. Get in a dungeon, a mighty dungeon, the dungeon, dungeon. One day, Daydream, you will figure out your damage. Hmm?
I do. Middle of my screen constantly.
Oh my god. You want a Dazzy ASAP, huh?
Dazzies are like way better.
I like not seeing half my screen sometimes, the flies in the way. Hey, if you want to do dog damage, just get a Dazzy knocked.
True. Bitch, fucking move, dude.
Yeah. The Dazzy, the
It's
Daydream.
pissing me off.
Oh yeah, you got a lucky one as well, didn't
It's
you?
huge.
Yeah.
Trying to build, and this bitch is like all up in my grill.
Sometimes when I'm at my base, just like assign it to a random bench or something, just to get it out of the way. Yeah, very frustrating.
I just put it back in the freaking POW box.
This is the end of Dazzy. I'll never return. Not Dazzy, Daydream. I'll never return for you.
I'm gonna use it because it's good. But it's not while I'm trying to build.
Preferred one was like a saddle or a collar you had to make for it. Well, like, it's nice that you don't have to craft anything for it, but it's just. I don't know.
No way to choose to turn it off.
Way to choose it. Just choose to turn it off is just to summon it and tell it to fuck off. And it's no longer floating in your screen, it's just on your screen doing shit. It can actually kill things. Ah. a flower. This is a cat lotus. Hit the boss teeth ant. Oh my god. Adorable watering can.
Aww. Is that what it says? What it's called? That's so
That's a
cute.
Telfer
I
tag, yeah.
love that.
Had to catch it. Oh, and it's got a insomnia. That's actually really good. My watering can. Vital remedy, ancient tech manual. Nice. We love. It's just it, we love in general.
Is that you?
Is that me? I got a meteor? Yeah.
I heard the whistle.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Like, I just hear the whistle no matter where I am on the map. It's weird.
Jesus, it's so far away.
Yeah,
I didn't hear the crash down, but I heard the whistle.
When I was this daydream is annoying as hell. When I was in my ocean base, that's when I started hearing the whistle. Whenever you got a meteor.
Yeah, like look how far I am from you, dude.
Uh-huh. And you hear just like a splash as if it's landing in water. I didn't see if it was a meteor or a supply catch. But it's probably...
One of the two.
Probably something I'm going towards. Free balling
Fucking goob.
and I'm free.
Ooh, I might as well, make this egg incubator.
Oh my god. Go die out. Kill those syndicate guys. Oh! Level 25. Aggressive onslaught. Oh, floof. I caught 2 stamina remedies. Heat resistant metal armor. Okay, that's gonna be good for a volcano.
Yeah.
Sounds like green quality, so it's probably gonna be like 37 or something again, right?
Maybe.
Oh my god, the Arsox is... No, don't kill Floof. Floof is dead. No! Pelsphere, go! My ultimate attack. Throw as many Pelspheres as it takes to catch him before I burn to death. I've got infinite.
I'm gonna hatch an egg. What should I hatch? A common egg, a verdant egg, a frozen egg, a damp egg, a huge dragon egg, or a huge verdant egg? I think a huge verdant.
Oh, huge verdant might be a memory. That was really good.
Yeah.
Secret technique. Infinite Pelspheres. And cry over Floof dying. I now have a couple of Arsoxes.
I thought you said assholes.
Oh, I've got all of them.
Just a couple of assholes. I'm gonna go get some more
Lost
metal.
all my coins.
I'm gonna go get some metal because I can make metal torches now, and I want them.
Nice. Oh, that's something really amazing that I just got. To get this early, a dumber.
Yeah, I have one. I would rather be a Duma guild, but yeah, I have one. It's currently watering my crops.
I don't care about you, bounty person.
Are your arms sore because you keep head patting me?
Yeah, that's probably why your arms are sore now. Shout out to anyone just listening.
Yeah.
We love you.
Welcome to the people that are here for the vibes. Yeah, you're only doing this to yourself.
And now I have an incineram. Oh, that poor bounty hunter guy. He just summoned his incineram to fight me. And then just kept someone tells me that until I caught it. And now I'm running away. Because that guy will kill me in like one hit. Oh. With wellness watch. Oh, less salmon
I
consumption.
have been attacked. I've been attacked.
You've attacked my wife? Don't make me cut off your feet, Natalie.
Oh my god. So aggressive.
I mean, I know you're my sister, but like, you don't need those. Hey, Weapon Quill. I'm gonna take that megasphere and then run away.
What the frick? What do you mean not enough support, dude? What do you mean?
Look, I have a feeling I will lose that, Natalie, because, like, you've broken a bitch's jaw, haven't you?
That's so
She probably needed me.
What do you mean?
Ah, perfect. We'll make this schematic, my love. I just got a crossbow schematic.
Right.
Oh, fantastic. Green. Green means go, which means it must be better than
The purple one we just made.
purple, right? Purple doesn't.
Why?
Ooh.
I'm gonna punch somebody in the titty.
Yep.
I'm the only one with my titties out. And I'm the only one here to be punched. Hi, Bronze Cherries. Why are you a level 50 Bronze Cherry? Why are there level 52 and 48 Bronze Cherries here? I don't think I'm on that higher level of zone. But maybe I am? I wanna go fight the Chillet at some point soon.
That's fine. I've already got that.
Nice. I haven't fought any of the bosses.
I fought quite a few. That's how I'm so high level.
So
strong.
Yes, jelly's on fire.
Decided to make this more of like a spiral thing going on, so there's stairs all around. I don't have to pick and choose.
How do I get up here? I am making my way to.
Making my way downtown, walking fast.
And I need you. I want you.
So I wonder.
And I will. Oh my god. While you went to walk 1,000 miles, I went to fall through the sky. You can
Your favorite favorite person in the universe.
I'm your least favorite person in
No,
the
you're
universe?
like my favorite person in the universe.
I'm like, oh, I'm similar to, but not it.
Yeah.
One day I'll get there.
Yep. Get good, scrub.
Just like Dark Souls, I've got to get good.
Fuck
scrub.
up. Dear princess. Not
Hey, princess?
I meant to say sphere workbench.
Sphere. You just put princess on there.
Apparently.
Is it because I think you're my birthday?
No, because I said fuck up, princess. I just had my brain. Oh Lord, I am.
I don't even know how to fuck. I'm not a horse. Once.
Horse.
My poor floof. Once I get this watchtower, I'm going home and giving floof a proper by putting him in the pearl box and then taking him out after 10 minutes. That's how I remember floof. What are the wind tunnels here? Why are there a single wind tunnel thing here? You know, like the wind tunnels that shoot you up to go up to like the top of
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like two watchtowers. Not a single wind tunnel. Looks like it's I guess intended to climb up the side of the cliff to get up to it.
Is there a watchtower up there?
Yeah, there's a watchtower at the very top of the cliff.
I see it.
Climb
Maybe. Try climbing, or maybe it's one that they want you to hold off till you get a flyer or something. Oh, you'll get it. Yeah, there's a ledge right there. You'll be alright.
Huh?
I don't know. I'm watching a delayed version of your streams.
Oh, I might be able to get it from this side. Okay. I'm a bit further ahead, but the texture on this is definitely not in the.
No chest you got?
Yeah.
You just got it.
Nah.
That's what I mean by delayed stream.
Which one YouTube?
YouTube.
YouTube does like to have a significant delay.
Yeah.
I should get it from this side. I think by default YouTube tends to have like a 5 second.
5 minute delay.
5 weeks later.
5 weeks later. Hello, people from the future.
What the fuck just happened to me?
I don't know. I'll let you know in about 5 minutes.
Everything's gray.
Are you dead? Normally it goes gray if you're downed.
No, like I've phased into a rock or something.
I see.
I'm gonna try relogging. I wonder where this is gonna put me. I think I climbed into the rock at the very top of the
Interesting.
cliff. But I'm not sure what, how,
Okay.
why.
That's
I hope I'm not
interesting.
That is very
Hi,
well.
Psycho.
Aha! Yes, I am actually up here. It was just a visual bug.
Nice.
I'm not supposed to be touching rocks, I guess. The cousin of touching grass.
It's like, wait a minute, how are you here and only level 10? Actually, are you level 10 now?
I am level 10. Yeah, hello, Psycho. Yeah, thanks for hanging out, Chris. Christian. Why did I say Chris?
Chris, I guess.
I got Chris on the line.
Who's Chris? Is this Chris person? Someone I should be worried about?
Yeah. Jump. Bum, 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 no. I'll worry about these somatic tales later. I think they're technically called ancient ruins, but they don't look very ruined to me.
No.
I became one with rock. I made love to the inside of that rock.
Oh my god. How lewd.
I am the most lewd.
Oops.
Sweet
Get my
snake.
hoodie on, I'm cold.
Oh yeah, this is the guy that just wants a bunch of honey. Honey. Dun, 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 dun. Oh my god, this is gonna be difficult.
Where are you at on the map?
I am there on the map at that where location. I am over by where the Elizabeth bot is.
Okay. Don't get the Lunaris, please. I would like to get the Lunaris.
I am not gonna touch Lunaris. I'm making my way
Downtown.
making my way over west. So I get that.
Oof, I feel good.
Go
I also do need a bee, don't I? Get a head start on making that cake. I say as I don't have a campfire.
Tarantulas are nice and peaceful.
Production goods and other
Like
materials.
most spiders, they just don't want to cause any problems.
Oh, and ingots.
Yeah, I'm basically just going west, trying to get towards the point where I can get over to the mountain, so I can get the goggles, the glasses.
Okay, that makes sense.
The schematic.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it also gives me a starting tower to like teleport to and from once we get up to that point. I've got like one in the desert as well.
Thank you, man.
Natalie gave you head pats or something?
Care package.
Care package. Oh my god.
Just doing a little bit of de-shrimping.
It's unlike Nat to care for someone. Oh, like
Nat loves me, okay? I love Nat and she loves me. Just because you guys got beef. Shut the fuck
We
up.
don't have beef, we've got pork. I wish I had beef, but steaks were expensive in this country.
I just put my hoodie on and it made me so comfortable I now have to pee.
That's what the care package does to you. Like, it makes you stretch. You let them, you go, alligator go. Too poor for steak indeed. Oh yeah, now I've got a question. Seeing as you're the steak aficionado, and I know you've had it there at some point, how would you rate the pancake parlor steak? It's not excessively expensive for a steak. But steaks everywhere here are excessively expensive, that's the problem.
You look like a lady. Why do I keep putting that song in my head?
I don't know. You just like dudes that look like a lady? Lady? Yeah.
Yeah.
You haven't had the pancake parlor steak. I mean, you've had the steak from the spaghetti tree. That's a place where you're supposed to eat spaghetti and wood.
What?
Spaghetti grows on trees, right?
Oh, I see.
Take it. Where's this at? Oh.
That's funny they call it a spaghetti tree. Did you know why? Or you probably why? They had this prank that happened. It's like April Fool's joke where they put in the papers of like people harvesting spaghetti from the trees.
It could be referring to that.
Yeah. It like makes no sense to me. They had a prank where they're at like a bunch of farmers like out there harvesting wild spaghetti.
Pranks and old hoaxes were great. Because you could actually, like, do some really weird shit that required basic knowledge. You'd be like, huh? Okay, yeah, that does. Picated tree was your first steak you've been addicted since. Well, to be fair, before then, the only steaks you had were the well done steak cooked, then cooked that Dad used to do. Made it fucking as a jerky without any flavor.
My family liked well-cooked steak. So we had steak a lot growing up, but it was always well done. So I was like drenched in A1 sauce. And then, but I don't remember what it was I had my first like medium rare steak. But I was like, bruh, this shit is juicy as fuck.
The only time I was ever worth excited getting over Dad's cooking was when he was doing meatloaf. Because that was the only thing he cooked that wasn't dry. Everything else was like, he wanted to make sure it was dead before he started cooking it. Drier than the Sahara. Yeah, I got some cinnamons, which is going to be good for my ranch. Which is my base, put it in the base. Fruit farming. Honestly, you have a good starting location to get to the mountain area.
Right? Probably.
My base is closer to the desert, yours is closer to the mountain. Or at least the points you want to get where you can go across with very bad flyers and things.
I was replacing all of my my barrel things with metal chests.
Oh, metal chests.
I have 6 of them now. I'm about to have 8. Don't know what I'm putting in these 2, but I like them to be here. Well, I think I'm gonna have 9 probably.
Oh, you're on level 13.
Yeah.
Nice.
Do you want some metal chests?
I am good for now. I'm currently just exploring, but I would I'll probably make some myself once I don't know.
Fine,
maybe.
do what you want. I mean,
You can do what I want. I can do what I want. No wise words have come. I can do what I want. Oh man, from South Park, he's a hero. Please don't look up to him because he's a little shit.
feed. How much health do you have?
869.
I have 1,365.
Someone's got metal llama.
I heard something about a combat llama.
Someone's got a combat llama. Oh!
What?
That's where you get the growth acceleration bell schematic from.
Where?
Mark me on the map. It's right next to Ego. Which is the boss fight.
Okie, you have been marked. I want that shit.
Yeah. It's, oh, that over there is where Anubis is gonna be. Anubis. Yeah, so it's, east of the Anubis boss.
Okay, I see.
I see. Acid rain. I actually want a grass spider at like some of the
I might have a grass spider. I don't know. I gotta wait another like fucking 11 minutes.
Don't have a cow, man. Yeah, some of the grass skills are very, very good for clearing camps. Like, they're massive AoEs. They do a ton of damage. The video I watched of like a 1 minute. Oh my god.
What?
Dr. Braun, hello.
Are you kidding me? Good luck fucking catching him now.
Pelspheres, go! Infinite Pelspheres, go! 0% catch rate. I've been spotted, the pigs hate me.
I saw that shit going.
I actually got him in the ball. And he immediately broke out.
Yeah.
Wait, I got 8 gigaspheres. And the serpent's aggroed. Ow. Don't hurt me, serpents. Got him in the ball again. He broke out. Yeah, breaking out. Now I'm gonna stop trying to catch him on the side to these PDA poppers. Serpents are angry though.
Surprise, Dr. Braun isn't a bounty for all his unethical experiments. But I guess it's not super unethical considering he does ask permission.
Do you think people care about the rights of pals in this world? None of them do, except for Lily. Lily's the only one that cares about pals in this world. And maybe Ori. I'm not sure about the Moonflower's view on it.
Already gonna be slow as shit. Might as well pick up this stone.
Yeah. Maybe.
Crazy train.
Yeah.
Crazy train.
By the next way track. Next fast travel. Yeah, if I get spotted by anything that's hostile, I am dead. Good thing these chillets are friendly. Chillets are friend, not food. That was lucky that Rayhound's got Night Owl. Grab this fast travel point, and it's this tower just to the right. I'll get this archaeology guy's quest. I think he's one in a cryolink.
Did your music just stop? Oh, never mind.
It's just laughing right now, the music. Aye. I'm gonna get rid of this green crossframe schematic. I don't need it. It's a good purple crossframe schematic. I think I jumped off when I did. Still get up. No, Wraith, leave me alone. I just want this. I will leave you alone. Fuck off. Ow, my dire how. Ow, my ass. My assless chaps, leave me alone. I have escaped. My dire hound died in one. Okay. I think it's safe between here and the fast. Oh, never mind. A loop moon crest. Oh, it's actually Epian. Is that a Mimog? Okay, I just want this fast travel point, then go back to my base. And my journey has been successful. More than successful, because I've got the growth acceleration bell schematic as well. As the Peltamer glasses. I will tell you what these need. When I can.
Danke.
Yeah. Okay. Can I make either the primitive workbench? Nope.
Does it say what workbench it needs?
Probably the high quality, but it might be an assembly table. Let me look. Production assembly line for the glasses, and high quality workbench for the bell.
I have a high quality workbench.
I will come to your base with the bell schematic. If we can, the earlier we can get that, the better.
Yep.
Also, the Galactosaurus effigies are going to be incredibly essential. Okay, so... Oh, you moved your workbench?
Yeah, it's upstairs now.
Cool. I'm liking the look of this base. Maybe. This house. This one with the bar. Oh, that's actually doable.
What?
Ancient civilization parts, palladium fragments, mysterious mushrooms, and ingots. 25 ingots.
Oh, I can get some mysterious mushrooms. 10 mysterious mushrooms? Fucking got this shit. Hold on.
I think the ingots will be more important so the mushrooms don't decay.
Well, I mean, like, I gotta wait for the Arzoks to wake up and cook my ingots.
Shut the fuck up. Know your fucking place, trash.
Between us, 20 mysterious mushrooms, 50
It worked.
ingots.
Yep,
And
I'm a tiny, you made me tiny and you put me in the trash. Wow, Nikki. Weren't you supposed to be sleeping?
Nikki to trash.
Oh wait, was that, never mind, something else. That's fine. I'm gonna go get the mysterious mushrooms. And how many ingots is needed?
25 each. So 50 between both.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
So doable.
So doable.
Like,
I'm gonna
oh
go
my
get,
God.
I'm gonna go work on. Why'd you say Oh, you're pretending that you didn't need to sleep. I see. Sneaky.
Awesome. So,
Okay, I'm going across. And then I am going to try to get a shrine. It's over there, but I don't know how well this is going to work, considering that this area is incredibly high-leveled compared to me. But mysterious mushrooms.
oh, you're going to Sakadurima.
Yep.
Be safe. But it should be relatively easy to avoid things.
Yeah, I think that the shroomers are passive.
I think the regular shrooms, I think Shroomer Nox might be hostile? I'm not sure.
I feel like they're only hostile if I'm attacking them.
Maybe I'm... You should there's typically dispersed enough that you should have a path at some point.
Yeah.
Because we made it through that area way under.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. I wonder if I actually am stinky now. Did you make me stinky?
You need to check stinky levels.
I guess I'm stinkier than I was yesterday. Which I guess tracks since I haven't had a shower. Whoa, pricksters.
Oh. You sure you try to make Aiko stinky? How stinky are you now? I don't think I did it because we did it too quickly.
Ooh,
I'm 81%.
what the fuck did you
stinky.
do?
Nikki's back to being very stinky.
Apparently.
Do it
No,
again.
do it again. You
Should
just
work.
did too quickly. That's all it was.
Yeah, it's got like a 5-second cooldown to stop, I think.
Just got really unlucky with that timing.
Yeah. 57%. Aiko, you're the cleanest.
I'm clean. Even though I'm in a trash can. Cleanest trash can ever.
My beautiful trash can.
I will take this egg. Egg.
Egg.
It could be a bushy knot for all you know.
It could be, theoretically. What was it? No, fire egg?
Fire egg.
Well, it could be.
I'm gonna run past these shroomer knocks or shroomers and see if they attack. I did not get attacked, so I'm thinking they're not aggressive, but there is a grunt tail. Try and go around, be sneaky like, you know.
I think from memory, a lot of the things in the mushroom area weren't hostile. As you get further inland, it's most of the bushies you gotta watch out for.
Yeah. Alright, I got the fast travel point.
Nice. That's big. I'm just getting a bunch of ore on my end.
In the other area, the biggest thing to worry about is verdashes.
Yes, dashes are another big thing to worry about. Especially this early, they're just gonna fucking lazy you the moment they spot you. You don't have enough to put Tristan in. Yeah, haha, I'm immune. I am Tristan.
You're stinky on your own. Ah! Shermer knocks aggressive, for sure.
Good to know. Don't die. Well, you got the fast travel point, so...
Get this. I don't remember what it does, but I want it.
Oh my god.
Oh no!
I hope you have a wonderful sleep.
Yeah,
Nikki.
get some good sleep. You deserve it.
No, my biggest fear, being my true self. Pray.
So bad for somebody to put them in the trash, bro. Like, please, I want to be stinky. Yesterday, you wanted to be in the trash so bad, and nobody fucking redeemed Trash Tuber, so he put himself in the trash.
No, someone did redeem Trash Man.
Did they? Oh, okay.
I think Lucy redeemed Trash Man, but unfortunately, Trash Man decided to be stinky.
Hopefully, this area was unloaded long enough for me to be able to avoid the Shermer knocks.
Hopefully.
How much did you say I needed? 10 each?
10 each. So, ideally 20. Typically get like 3 minimum.
There's another Shermer knocked. I only got 2. Dude, it's really...
Because the efficiency of our weapons is so low.
I just want... Roxy, get your ass over here. We have to run. You're not gonna beat him. I wonder if I use a pickaxe, it would be better.
Oh my god, a merch.
I'm gonna try catching it next time if it hits me. Just gotta throw a ball at it. I have an ultra sphere.
What do you... Oh. Oh, you just give a bunch of ammo. I don't have guns. Other than these ones. They're so lanky. But they're so squishy. No muscly at all.
Okay, I got 2 more. 4. You have 10.
Nice, you've got enough for one of us. One of us. One of us.
Try and sneak over there, but there is a Sherman. Oh. See a bigger area over here. It's closer to some Shermanox, but maybe I can avoid them.
I don't know some.
Pal XP is gonna be huge.
Yes. Pell XP is gonna be fucking massive. I know I pickaxe is damage. I've got enough ore for myself to get the ingots up.
He's not spotted me, has he? Just because I can see his name. Maybe doesn't mean nothing, right? I have 26. I have 26, but I'll be remiss if I don't fucking come over here and at least attempt to throw one of these ultra balls at that Sherman not. Okay. I lied. I don't want to do that. I would rather do it at a Sitsier. Think about it. If I get a Sitsier...
That's pushing off immediately. As soon as we can stop reading.
Ah! Run away! But I gotta wait till nighttime before I do that. They don't spawn. They spawn at night only. I know, you hate me. I get it, I'm gone. I'm leaving. I don't need it. I'm proud of myself for that. That was scary.
You got 10?
Yeah, 26.
Nice.
You said we only need 10 each?
10 each, yeah.
Alright, let me see if my metal's done. How much metal did you say I needed?
25 each.
How are we doing over here? Our stocks? 42.
Fuck yeah.
You got metal?
I've met 23.
Sweet.
And my socks are currently smelting.
I forgot that my workbench was upstairs. Did you put the...
I have the schematic.
Okay, that's fine.
25. I'm coming over now.
Okay, cool.
Thank you for getting the mushrooms.
Yeah.
I kind of now.
Need to get a chest of sorts. Give it a minute. I'm working on it. Just gonna change this, uncheck all, and only put schematics in there. There we go.
There you go.
If you put the other ingots in there, give it a go. Oh,
Here we go. Nice, much faster than the crossbow as well. This is awesome.
do you have 2 daydreams?
No, one's mine, one yours. Wait, no, they are both mine.
I was like, I'm like, I put mine away.
One had souls on it that was taken off, that put back on the other.
Yeah, I see.
I got melee souls into the attack.
Nice.
The only thing the daydream, when it's attached to your needs, is attack. It can't be hit, so it doesn't need health or defense.
My huge egg is done.
Ooh, that could be a Mamarist. That could be a Brilova? Broncherry?
Ooh, if it's a Berloha, I'll be so fucking happy. If it's a Broncherry, I'll also be happy.
What
If
else
it's a
could it be?
Mamarist, I mean, I guess it'll be alright.
Mamarist is great for early mining of, or just early mining in general.
Not gonna use it.
As
I'll use it as a
mount.
fighter.
Yeah. It's a great fighter.
Very tanky.
Very good. It does quite a lot of damage.
But my Bushi also does quite a lot of damage. I think we should work towards the next quest, you know? So we can get Lily.
Yeah.
Or do you think we're under level for it?
She's level 20, so probably.
You got that one? Okay.
That one. Nice. And immediately equips because you don't have one on.
What? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any accessories, so it just immediately went on. Where will be the first Relaxosaurus we get? There's one in Volcano, one in Desert, one in the Mountain, one...
You'll see early ones random, like in different areas kind of randomly, but...
No, I mean the effigy.
Oh.
For XP rate.
Desert.
Volcano, Desert, Mountain...
Mountain is not going to be easy to get.
The Volcano is the next area after Lily. So that could be the first one we get.
Could be.
Had like an okay flyer, we could easily get all of them, except for the mountain. Fuck, cold. Mountains are cold. Have to be a better mount than Nightwing though.
And Nightwing, you said?
Yeah.
Ephedrine?
Ephedrine probably could get to the Sakadorima one.
Alright, you ready for me to find out?
You have an Ephedrine with a mount?
I don't know what I got. I'm in the egg.
Oh, egg.
Valet! It's sickly valet.
A valet? Interesting. I've never used one of them for combat. It could be good.
Put this egg in here. It's probably a Bushi, if I'm not gonna lie to you.
Is it an alpha valet, or is it just a regular valet?
Good question. It is an alpha valet.
Nice. Yeah, I thought they were large eggs, so that was...
You know what you get from them? Various seeds, if at the farm.
Various seeds at the farm, yeah. Yeah, nice.
Apparently also wants to help with gardening. Planting level 3, handiwork level 3, gathering level 3, medicine protection level 3, transporting level 2, farming level 2.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm like, nice. But at the same time, nice.
Next thing I'm gonna work towards metal
I
tools.
think I'm just gonna put this bitch out and let it do what it wants, man. Go to the farm, go to the fucking farm, but do whatever the fuck you want. It's a good all around, does everything pal, so it's not like I don't have enough slots. What else do I want?
At this point,
Oh, I also caught a syndicate thug earlier, it seems.
Oh, cool.
He's level 7.
Blue. He's doing so much damage. Oh, yeah.
Gotta go make another bed.
Big egg.
No?
Making a big egg.
Oh no, I'm making another bed. I'm cooking a large egg.
Oh.
The
A big egg.
fire one that I found in
Big egg.
Zekadrima. You know what I want it to be so bad?
Oh.
I want it to be a chili Ignis so bad. But it's probably gonna be a Bushi.
Could be a Bushi. Very unlikely to be a Bushi not.
Yeah, it's unlikely to be a Bushi not because it's blue.
Oh. The water egg.
What?
Is it a blue?
Oh, it's rare. It's rare.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's not gonna be a Bushi not then.
I think Bushi Noct would be purple.
Yeah.
I actually want to look that up because like they do have different rarities. But the one's probably me. Just let you know.
Yeah, large does have different rarities. Large does have blue and purple. And green.
See,
And then it's common, which is just common white. It was just no color. Then large goes from blue to purple, and then huge is legendary.
large scorching egg. Okay, so as far as rare goes, it could be a Vanworm, a Wixen Noct, a Bushi. It could be a Bushi Noct.
Okay.
It could be a Pyron Noct, a Gangler Ignis, a Chillit Ignis, a Ragnahawk, a Moldron, Large Scorching, Kitsune, Blaze, Howl, Reptiro, Flarical, Dupin, and Renjishi. I do want to see the
Oh,
cache.
this is not filtering by region though.
Uh-uh.
That's just a general what can be in a large egg. That's
Yeah.
rare.
It doesn't look like there is there not a large epic egg? It doesn't have anything for us. I'll look for the region.
Maybe the epic is just an alpha variant. No, surely not. That would be huge.
Eggs. I don't know if they're region based anymore.
That is a good question. They might not be region based.
Because it doesn't have a location thing anymore. There's still like the maps on the egg are still labeled Sakadrima Grade 1, stuff like that, but like if you look at the location on the map, like they don't, or on the eggs page, there's no location anymore.
Yeah, true. They might not have location distinctions, which would be a bit odd to make that a change.
It might be that people were like farming them that way. I don't know. Oh, some of them do have locations. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Sacadurima grade 1. Search. Huge scorching. Large scorching. If we're going this, it'd be Chillet Ignis, Bushy Knocked, Bushy, Wixen Knocked, Aerial Marauder, Vanworm, or a Vanworm. Okay. So Alpha Vanworm, Wixen Knocked, Bushy, Bushy Knocked, or Chillet Ignis.
Okay.
And the
so
highest chance it looks like is going to be Vanworm.
Okay.
Followed by, well, Vanworm and Wixen Knocked are tied. Followed by Chillet Ignis. Followed by Bushy Knocked and Bushy, same chance. Followed by the Alpha Vanworm.
Okay, so there is a decent chance you could get something in. You could get the chillet.
Good, yeah. I'd be happier with the Bushy Knocked.
Yeah. You would indeed be happier now that you know that it possibly could have Duchy.
Yeah. I'm not gonna like think it's probably gonna be a Vanworm. Especially with
Probability is on
my
Vanworm.
level. Huh?
Probability is on Vanworm or Wixen Knocked. No harm in hoping on the RNG.
I heard you laughing. I thought that I heard you sing. I think I thought I saw you cry. That was just a dream. That was just a dream. That's me in the corner. Spotlight losing my breath. Oh, did I already tell you I have a hold on. I actually don't know if it's a breeding pair. Let me check. It might be. Because that would be really cool. I have a breeding pair of Gale Claws.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. You gonna butcher them?
Not right now.
Eva?
No.
Do they have like service minded or something on them? No, okay, you just got like the Bates breeding pair. Cool.
I'm trying to go with Mimi's suggestion of unless you need it right now, don't breed it.
Yeah. Definitely good suggestion.
Causes me a lot less stress. Like right now, I don't have so many pals that these pals aren't doing a good enough job of making enough berries to feed these bitches.
And yeah, even if you get like a really good pal, what purpose is it gonna serve other than being locked at your level?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll level it up a bit faster, but like...
Ooh, I'm getting random seeds now.
I
have 2 large pal cells apparently.
Let me go back down to the... Oh, nice.
Might wind up at some point having to take Valet away from the farm. Be like, you can't ranch anymore. Sorry, friend. I don't need that many seeds.
I'm gonna go catch the foxicle.
Do it. Right. I kept telling myself I'm gonna go get the Lunaris, then I kept getting distracted.
Good luck, my love. Make sure to use those pillars well.
Huh?
And the Lunaris boss fight? That's the one you're getting, right?
Yeah, you said the pillars?
Yeah, there's pillars. It's a sealed realm.
Oh, right. I've got 2 Ultra Spheres and a Legendary Sphere, too. But I probably won't use them.
just traumatize her again. What the hell's this?
Yeah. It's a good method, weirdly.
Trauma is a fantastic method against pals and not people. Oh yay, finally! Looking around for a dungeon. Popsicle, you get to stay out of a ball for longer because of the dungeon level.
How much time is left on this egg? I'm gonna wait 3.5 minutes. I think I can wait 3.5 minutes.
He's saying, wee. Oh well, actually, almost one shot. Lambo, kill his friends. What is that? Oh! I've never seen acid rain used before. Basically, every fruit I get, unless like, there's no point saving skill fruits. So every fruit I get, I'm just chucking on my Lambo.
Your Lambo's gonna be cracked, dude.
It currently does not have a single normal move on it. It's got an electric move, a dark move, and a water move. And they all actually do quite good. 120, 140, and maybe 2 140s? And 300 on the dark attack.
How does the baton compare to the bunny?
Ew. Well, you're probably gonna kill that straight up. Nope, it survived because of that pole. And the good thing as well, I believe these aren't boosting 50, 15, 30. Yeah, nice. So the partner skills of the Rubunny and the Cremis state that they boost the attack of neutral pals.
Okay.
It's not boosting the neutral damage of neutral pals, it's boosting just the attack stat. So it doesn't matter what kind of attack Boof is using, his damage is just boosted.
Oh, nice.
Oh my god, that's a... Yo, there's a mammoth emoji. Oh my god, there is a mammoth emoji. And the dinosaurs, camels? Why do... Oh, okay, I was gonna say, why do those dinosaurs look like they have 5 legs? They don't. They do have 4. 2 are in the background, weirdly placed. That's not how it would be walking. Fuego and animals. Animals. Watching you with the fuego in their eyes. Oh, it's a sloth and kangaroo, nice. Tiger. Might be a dog. Lots of animals. Bless you, my love.
Adding a Calamari to my base for helping transport. It's got nimble, so I figure we're not.
Oh yeah, fair, yeah. The best transporter at this point would be just whatever has movement speed increases.
Yeah, they both have 2 transporting, and then one has swift and one has...
It'll be a while before we can manage to get a Mimog. That legendary steed you have might actually be able to catch one.
That'd be awesome.
And then you transport and sorted for early game. I suppose I should put something up on my stream.
Well, I need 2 Nimogs so I can breed them. You said you should put something up on a stream that what?
That says that currently like this is a 0.1.
There's a mammoth emoji? That's awesome.
There is a mammoth emoji, yeah.
I know that one.
It's really weird. He's back from what? Welcome back, Hika.
Hika Hika. God, 26 seconds. It says it's just a little cold. I'm sorry. It's 2 campfires not enough for you, bitch. Guess I'll warm you up some more. Damn.
No, you're gonna get hit by a lightning attack.
15
Oh.
seconds isn't gonna pass. What?
Dang.
What?
My floof. Half health, that Mao.
Are we ready? Are we ready? I'm nervous. Wish me luck. Please, everybody wish me luck.
Good luck.
I want a Bushi knock so bad, but it probably won't be. Or Chill It Ignis. Chill It Ignis or Bushi knock. Please, 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 please.
Good luck,
It's gonna be a
honey.
van worm. It's a
You're
van
gonna
worm.
serve it?
It's a serious van worm.
I didn't wish you enough luck.
Van worm.
You're on a server with a dev of what game? Roblox? Oh yeah, you were playing Roblox on Xbox. I'm back from work. How was your day at work, Ika? How are you doing?
He doesn't care. I care. Tell me. Tell me about it. How was your day?
Have you... No, how does she know I don't care about anyone other than myself? I'm a narcissist. Super easy day. Oh, we love those.
I would like this to communicate with the wall, please.
Floof, go. Look at that rifle. You're gonna get... Floof is insane. Oh, I didn't move your way fast enough, Floof, I'm sorry. I'm too slow. I stunned you out of your tap.
May I use Octavia?
Octavia is...
A Dazzy knocked.
Dazzy knock? I mean... No, Floof! I didn't realize it would come out of the ball doing that jump attack. Didn't think it would escape the ball. I mean, sure.
Okay.
It's gonna level sync.
Yeah, I know. That's fine. I don't care about that. I care about having a pal that isn't pissing me off.
The dev is using unreleased stuff. I mean, it sounds like a typical dev. Devondale cheese. I don't know why I said Devondale cheese other than cheese.
What should my next egg be? We have damp, large dragon, verdant, common, frozen, and large common.
That's different eggs. Large common. My work in all is pretty easy. For the most part, I'm just looking at car parts and packing them. So you're the inspector to make sure that they're not, like, faulty. And then packing them.
I'm glad you're doing good at your job. Okay. Now I'm leaving to go see if I can't find that fucking Lunaris.
You got this, honey.
Still have a bow in my inventory.
You're talking about like having being in a game with a dev makes me think of all the stupid achievements in games where it's like, oh, here's an infection achievement, and you have to be in a game with someone that's either got this achievement or is a dev. I hate achievements like that in games. That's the way to ruin games because as soon as the online is on, the games, so the achievement is impossible.
Oh, well, I brought the van worm with me. I guess that's happening. Guess it's gonna level. It's not gonna be a bad flyer.
Also, nice. Hippo go burr.
I'll get the van worm saddle out anyway. 21. Not too bad. By the time I get there, it should be leveled up.
Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, I hope everyone's having a wonderful day.
Shit day.
Shit day? I hope everyone's having a shit day. Covered in poop. And I don't know what else.
Hello?
Oh, God, intruder.
Oh my goodness.
I wanna
Hello?
steal a chicken.
Who is it? Is it a cutie?
No.
Oh, look, it is a cutie.
No, 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 he's ferocious. We have... I'm gonna put him.
They're trying to attack me. They're not very nice. Things here are not very kind to me.
It's just so awful, it's not even worth using at this point.
Up there right now, can I? Try anyways. I think I might be able to at least try to get up there.
Hello, kitty.
Hello, kitty?
Hello, kitty.
Oh, shit.
He's so cute. Punch it in the face repeatedly and capture it. You don't do that with cats in real life, Aiko. We don't punch cats repeatedly in the face in real life. I mean, some people do.
Then they have movies made after them called Don't Fuck with Cats.
Indeed, if there's anything you need to know about life, it's don't fuck with cats. The internet will hunt you down, and the internet will kill you.
I found a large electric egg.
I'm an alpha T-vent. He's abusing me? No, I never do it, IRL. That's what they all say. I don't have chicken, kitty. He's staring at me, my love.
Hi,
He's wanting
baby.
chicken.
He wants your love. You love is because you're precious.
He's such a good boy.
He's such a good boy. Where's the last one?
I actually want to bring Nox around in my party.
What the fuck? Oh, there it is. Oops, I missed. I missed again. Are you fucking kidding me?
We are never gonna play Roseblocks.
I never playing Roblox. Heat resistant metal armor schematic 2. Know what that means? Bitch is rare, I think. Pretty sure. Not my jam.
Roblox is very much just... It's got certain perceptions if anyone over a certain age plays it, and also it just does not look like a good game. Palworld is a much better game.
How old are you, Kitchen? I don't actually have it listed on YouTube that it's 18 plus stream.
I don't think I do. I know there's an annoying word limit on how many characters you can have in the title.
Because it's an 18 plus stream.
And well,
It's not that it's like sexual or anything like that. It's just like...
I think the why is in response to why we won't do a Roblox stream.
Oh.
We have no interest in the game.
Yeah, we just are not interested in the game.
It is... It is a meh game at best. It's stop rubbing up against my legs under the
Hippo emoji.
Oh, why did I get off
Floppy! I'm not gonna try and catch a floppy though. Floppy's not really gonna help me, I don't think. Rocky egg!
Yeah, the kitty was under my desk, rubbing up against my legs, and then playing with the cords.
Well,
It's now left because I did not give him chicken.
well, maybe next time you'll give him chicken.
It's now over by you wanting chicken.
What's it, my baby? Hi, baby. Sweetie, you're not gonna get no chicken over here. Are you in my trash? Get the fuck out my fries! It's got he doesn't even like potatoes. He's ready to eat my fries. He's like,
No,
nom
it's not.
nom.
No, what's not?
My fries from last night from McDonald's. He's like, these look good. Fat fuck. I love him so much. He's the best cat in the world. Fat fuck.
I'm gonna eat that. I'm gonna eat that cat one day.
It's gonna be
It's gonna
delicious.
taste like chicken.
He gonna be like
delicious.
delicious. Nom nom nom.
That's why I was feeding him so much chicken to fatten him up.
Yeah.
Mm.
He's gonna be so juicy later. Nom nom nom. No, it's not. What's not? What was that we said about Roblox? It's not our jam.
Not our game. Or was it the fact about it being stream?
Having
Is it
connotation.
Or is it? I don't know. It's because
I'm
because
level
of the delay.
14. I know. Delay is a pain in the butt.
Killed that celery. I got its drops, and I caught it.
Megasphere, sphere workbench, average feedback. Okay, I think I'm going with that. Zombie, zombie, zombie. Maybe I'll be able to get a bee guard.
Maybe.
I have to be like really careful with it, cause them bitches like to explode.
Yep.
I am loving being groundbound and knowing that once I get a flyer, like I will have earned it. Abundance comes with silence. We must be. Oh my god, I'm never getting this Capricorn. Absolutely not. I would lose my mind. It's got night owl. Have you seen this emoji? Moose, unicorn, oh goodness. Trying to distract me with hieroglyphics.
Trash top, oh indeed.
Whippa! Enjoy your
Hello.
lurk. Ico drip on time knock. Nice. Love the Ico drip. Gotcha.
Enjoy your Ico drip.
I'm gonna have to make some new Ico drip, man. So updated, new and improved Ico drip. But that's gonna be a minute.
Yeah, I got that thing.
It's not gonna be just Ico drip. We gotta make Trico drip. Yeah, exactly. You get it. I'd wear Trico drip. Would you wear Trico drip, babe? We could be matching. We could be twins. And people will be like, oh my god, who's that weird anime couple you got on you? We're like, you'll never know. You'll never know because you're not part of the scene. And the fact that you just called them weird. Even though that's accurate. That's where I wanted to go. First of all, there's an Elizabeth there. They're gonna be on their. They're gonna be on their. On their what's the word? On alert. I definitely don't want to be chased by an Elizabeth. I'm not gonna take it. Okay. Is there one down here? There is. But again, why are there so many Elizabeths? This is like the third one. Okay. Chances are low, but I'm going for it. Fuck. Come on. Oh, I've just got the B guard too. Ah! It's got acid rain! Shit, run! Did it explode?
As an annoying thing with YouTube, where there's a way to manually like age restrict things, so like only people signed into a YouTube account and over 18 can view it.
Yeah.
But then it fucks up like your monetization potential for videos.
Oh yeah.
Even if like it's not 18 long.
I don't want to die! No, my dog!
Even if you just like only adults in chat, it still restricts a lot of things. And also I would have to manually do it on every single video that goes live. But I can do that. Would you prefer if I did that?
I don't know. I don't think so. It's like in the same way that I don't necessarily put...
You don't care if,
like, I don't put like the... Because it's not sexual content.
No, it's purely
It's just swearing.
Interact with adults.
Yeah. You know, I'm gonna save these with Lunars. I really don't give a shit about you. You can be mad at me if you want to be, that's fine. But I'm not trying to fight you. I'm trying to fight the Lunaris. Fuck off.
Video during break at work on how to get free electricity from an old 50s TV antenna. They're talking about the ones on top of the TV, but oh, the big ones on top of the house.
My granny used to have a really big one, really big dish in the yard, dude. It was massive. Thing was fucking huge, like 5-foot diameter. Oh my god. Get in the ball. It was a 1% back bonus. I got nothing. No.
Oh no, it's a ball. Gonna get back.
I have a legendary sphere. I'm gonna use it. Damn it. Wow. Ow! My Herbie's dead.
No! Kirby's dead. Dang.
Well, it's a level 35 Lunaris. I don't know. I thought it was level 29.
Everything on that level is 30 minimum. You got this.
1%. No, stay on the ball. I'm down. I'm down.
I don't have anything in the area to go and
That's
help
fine.
you.
That's fine.
It's taking so long to load. Ah, cool. The block thing worked.
I think that was the first time I died. No.
I think so.
Yeah, no, that was definitely the first time I died.
I had my first death a little bit ago. I'm your best friend. That's not how friendship works.
You're really, like, kind of messing up the vibe chat.
You sound like a child.
Yep. And
You blame Jonah Hill
for what?
for everything? I also blame Jonah Hill. Jonah Hill has done everything. Because I can't. Valid. Fair.
I'm going back in. Is this responsible? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm probably gonna die again, but it's fine.
You are a child. Okay. Good to know.
Okay. I know their balls are a little bit more levels. I'm not prepared for this. Ugh, I'll handle Discord.
Okay. I was actually gonna ask, do you want to handle Discord while I do YouTube?
Yeah, I just needed to get out of the Lunaris fight. I ain't playing around with that shit. Took me 2 years to get the fuck out of, or be able to do 18 plus. I'm not.
Yeah. It's just hard to do that stuff on YouTube because it's like,
Yeah. I'm not like upset. I'm just
yeah. I need to try and rework
like
the YouTube
algorithm.
title.
Yeah. So, talk to Mimi and see the best way to handle it.
You can age restrict the stream and then manually select it for the VOD to go back, but at the same time, that again
This is with the algorithm, right?
it might be the best way to do it. Yeah, I might just do that. I have to do that manually every time though, because I don't go live through YouTube. I go live through Stream Elements multi-screen and thing. What's the category? Demon. What? Okay, so it might actually be worth going live manually through YouTube instead of using the Stream Elements thing, because that
Check. I'm just
heavily,
seeing if there's any.
even if I set to like the gaming category, it still puts me in the entertainment category. Nothing matter. Yeah, and it's not anything against anyone personally, it's just straight up. We don't want to deal with children. Oh, they're asleep. That's why I wasn't sure that
Ooh.
killed.
Okay. Mimi recommends have like stream elements like periodically post. This stream is intended for adults 18 plus. If you're under 18, please don't participate in chat or our Discord.
Yeah, I could set that up.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on. Uh,
It says you can put 18 plus mature humor or 18 plus community at the front of the stream title if you want. Mention it in the first line of the description too. And then the stream elements thing, and then it says if someone says they're under 18, remove them from the chat Discord like you already did. Pros doesn't hurt discoverability, sets expectations, filters out younger viewers without YouTube restricting your reach.
yeah, YouTube heavily restricts the reach if you Okay, let me go to YouTube, stream elements. How often you reckon? Every like half an hour?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
How do you set up the chatbot to modules?
You're on Twitch right now, I think. Probably.
I'm in the stream elements Discord, the Discord, YouTube one.
I can't stream on YouTube. I would get nuked immediately. Would you? Why?
Hmm?
You just said that they can't stream on YouTube because they get nuked immediately. Why?
Oh, don't you aren't you like basically a sort of lewd tuber?
Are you a lewd tuber, Hiko?
Do you do the sussy things?
Are you a sussy baka? Well, I get sussy too sometimes. That's why we wanted to stay to 18 plus.
Timers. I need to change the Discord. Okay, so what do I want the message for the Discord timer being?
This stream is intended for adults, in parentheses 18 plus. If you're under 18, please don't participate in chat or our Discord.
With the Discord link?
I mean, you could probably just add that as a separate one.
No, I meant like for the Discord message itself. Do I separate?
No, there should be a timer. There should be a
Yeah,
timer.
I'm setting one, but there was already one for the Discord that you set. I'm gonna edit enjoy the Heartblossom. Backy.
What's that?
Add your timer, type a name. Stream is intended for
Adults. I would stream on Kick and Twitter if I knew how to multi-stream. I've been considering TikTok.
yeah, TikTok is an option.
Tristan could stream on YouTube and Twitch, and I could stream on Twitch and TikTok, and that would increase our discoverability by quite a bit.
Full every 30 minutes. Chat lines, timer. 0. Timer. Okay, and then the Discord message would be
But I want to set up a vertical stream. Which will actually, if I set up the vertical stream, that'll actually help us on Twitch too. I am eligible for streaming vertical, so that when people are scrolling down, it looks better. On the mobile, at least. Hate everything. Why did I choose this location? Shit. Does say so
Yeah,
available a few times.
so
You don't look bad. Aw, thanks.
I changed the automatic.
What you doing? Are you in the bag, bruh?
Chicken bag.
No, we moved the chicken bag. Remember?
I have changed the automatic like Discord message of 15 messages are sent to basically say join the Heartblossoms Discord at Discord link. Warning, and then in brackets after it, warning that this is an 18+ community. Anyone joining that is under 18 will be banned.
Yeah, that's fine.
And the
I'm so good at this.
the stream is intended for adults. Please do not interact in chat if below 18. Yeah, cool. Every 30 minutes with 0 chat lines needed for it to automatically send that. Okay, okay. And then I can edit this to not have...
Where is my thing? Oh look, Arzox is so bored. So sorry.
There we go.
Dream on.
There we go. It is now no longer set to have...
How to set a vertical stream for TikTok and Twitch. Multi-stream setup 2026 Twitch, YouTube, vertical, TikTok. Setting up a vertical stream.
Basically not that we...
Install the vertical plugin. I had that at one point installed. Did I disable it or did I lose it? I might have lost it.
I need to add something in the rules. Stating that,
Is there YouTube rules before chatting?
No, in the Discord rules.
There is something in the rules.
Freedom of respect, no self-promotion, no age-restricted content, keep discussing around channels, avoid excessive using, we have 0 tolerance policy for initiating direct messages.
Oh, okay.
Respect privacy, follow TOS, listen to staff, report violations, and then the content warnings.
Okay, I'll edit it.
No. Yeah. How dare you leave the bowl, Kelpsy? Stay in the bowl. Okay. Back to things. Oh. That's fine. I'm gonna capture you. That exit here. That's fine. Where am I? Oh yeah, Fox South. This the other one. Yeah, on mobile, it doesn't look terrible, but it looks better on mobile if you have the vertical thing enabled.
How's that look?
And stream with it.
Change this part here too. Gotta keep it PG part.
A second. Yeah, that looks good. I think we just got to update it when Sims and Milky turned 18.
What? Yeah.
I think we just forgot to update that part when Sims and Milky turned 18.
Capture, video capture, does game capture, resize position, then game capture.
Okay, yeah, keep up with my attack. Gonna be fine in vitals.
There we go.
One cool thing is, though, is the YouTube stream's doing well again. Not like yesterday, but hello to everyone hanging out. We will be streaming pretty regularly from now on, so if you want to let us while I want to go live, feel free to chuck us a follow if you like the content. If you don't, that's fine too. Enjoy just hanging out, lurking. We love our lurkers. Oh yeah, I haven't caught all the fox dogs yet. Yeah.
What's 1.30? Pull this over here really quick.
Oh, they had an alt account.
Oh,
Fiction, we do not want children interacting.
the W2P.
Yeah, and I kicked them again. Or I hid their messages in chat. We do not want to interact or be interacting with
Children.
Thought I had things set up that, you know, avoid that, but I guess not. Multi-streaming is odd. When you're not, you know, using YouTube as your default.
Yeah, please.
Syndicate Thug as well. I'm actually doing. Don't hurt the power merchant. Do you have any good pals? I could buy a Nightwing.
Ew, light mode.
Yui, night mode. Could buy a Nightwing. Ooh. I might do that. I might. Nightwing with aggressive? Yeah, sure.
Try and set it up later, cause like I'd have to end the stream right now, and I don't want to.
Yeah, some things would require ending the stream.
But I've got the exe downloaded, so
You can do some testing after stream,
yeah.
or tomorrow before stream.
I want to try getting it set up tomorrow, so I can at the very least do do the dual format streaming for Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how it goes.
We home Alabama.
That's so weird that it says I don't know this bounty here, but I do because I was like over there and it was like at the top of my screen.
Weird. Yeah, usually when you get close enough with the health bars on your screen, it tells you what it is.
Not on the map. Time for me to run back to the Lunatus area and throw balls of bees. They're no longer taken by surprise. Get in the ball. No, don't die. Don't kill me.
No. Maybe kill me?
It didn't kill me because it's safe.
Who?
The bee guard.
Oh, it didn't know the hell. Oh, at these levels. It blows up.
Come on, bitch. Come on, be mine. Be mine. I got a bee! Oh my god!
Yeah?
I got a bee with eternal engine.
Oh, my. Oh,
What the fuck?
that's a good thing.
You know what that means? I have access to eternal engine and Swift. Okay, I just got an Elizabeth.
You do have access to eternal.
I also now have Elizabeth
Oh.
because that bitch was fighting me and I just threw balls at her.
I mean, I'm not gonna use it, but Blue, if you can learn Implode. I have to get like blast resistance to actually give you the Implode. Dragon Breath. Ooh. You can watch, just don't interact in chat.
Legacy, how are you doing, friend? The thing is, Christian, is we make jokes that aren't appropriate for children. And, like, I'm not your mom. I'm not going to tell you you can't fucking watch or whatever. But it's not...
We don't want to have to censor ourselves.
Yeah. And if we start talking to children and start interacting with children on stream, then that's how we get in trouble, you know?
We then have to censor ourselves and then stop being...
Won't...
And then we have to stress over that, and it becomes annoying.
We are golden. We're great. I just caught an Elizabeth, and I'm only level 14. A B-guard. A B-guard with eternal engine. I can't ride this bee, but, you know, I'll be able to use it later for breeding. I got a dog in.
A doggin.
Yeah, that large common egg was a doggin.
Not a dog out?
I've never had a doggin. I mean, I probably have, but like it was like a never used it kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. I've had plenty of pals like that. Never
Has a
used them.
handicraft of 4. Ooh, it has a transporting of 3.
Ooh.
Is that better than...
We are doing good.
When activated, teleports to the nearest base. What?
It teleports you home? With this partner skill?
Yeah.
Oh, that seems really useful.
Can't be used in dungeons. That's all it says. Bruh.
That just seems very useful all around.
Right?
Let's pick up here.
Oh,
There's a
I'm so
couple
loud. I'm so
more.
sorry. I can like... Hold on.
My eyes don't want to be open, but I want to keep playing.
Okay. I'm going to test something.
No.
Because we're going to see if it works while encumbered. I never looked at the dog in. What a badass partner skill, dude.
That is just like a Daisy Cloud, but
Yeah.
like just on a cooldown rather than a consumable.
I wonder what the cooldown is. Not that it super matters. If I'm going home, I'm going to be there at least for a couple minutes.
Yeah, if the cooldown's like one real life day, then that would be a bit shit. Anything less than that would be decent.
Baby. I can't jump right now. But I want to go get this pile, this scrap pile over here. Baby, my darling. 1,000 seconds. And it acts like the cloud, yeah.
1,000 seconds, so that would be... Ooh. $1,000 seconds, that's a long cooldown.
Well, yeah, but it's a really badass fucking ability, right? Alexa, how many minutes is 1,000 seconds?
Like 15?
Oh, okay. That's not too bad.
That really isn't too bad. If you go home after a long trip, you could spend that entire amount of time in your base.
Yeah. Nanay, Aiko Tristan. Nanay, Hika. Have a good sleepies.
Hika. Bum bum bum. Bum bum bum. Bum bum bum.
So weird.
I am incredibly weird, my love.
Yeah.
Back on the street.
Don't want this fan worm. Or do I? Or don't I? Or do I? Or don't I? Or do I?
Don't we?
Oh, yeah, I do. While in party, increases damage player deals to enemy weak points by 20%. Yeah, I'll take that.
That's very strong for early game when, you know, the player's the main source of damage.
What is this Dazzy in my party? I want a tea. Rather, I think, have Herbie in my party. Herbie, I'll be back.
Go, my love, put out those fires. Why else would you pee, huh? It's not a reason. Gulliver's Travels, putting out fires, that's the only reason to pee. Do the challenge. Oh my god, I gotta kill a bunny. I thought it would be a bit, you know, stronger because Oh, that's actually gonna be good. I thought that bunny would be a little bit stronger because it was a one god in an ancient ruin. But no, I shot it with a 1 arrow and killed it. I guess it is a purple crossbow and it was a level 5 bunny. Hey, honey.
Get back. Okay. Am I feeling confident? Because I definitely just got a B card and an Elizabeth. I think if I come over here. What did I do with my pal thingy? Damn it. I need one Paldium. Because I forgot to rebuild my fucking pal statue.
Yeah, I love when you like deconstruct something and then build something else and then just completely forget about it until you need it. Or I guess unless I want it. La 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 la.
Starts with one thing. I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind. I designed this rhyme to explain. All I know.
Oh.
Okay. Watching world by the end of the day. Down below, watch the sun go right out the window. One capture power. One satiety duration. One flight capacity. Don't even fucking fly. And plus one movement speed.
Just what you're after, huh?
Oh yeah. The flight power is even better, considering I don't fly.
How are you doing, my love?
Oh, I'm great.
I'm glad.
I'm trying to figure out, like, how I want to put these pals in here. Okay, so this guy's planting. This guy's chopping wood. Stone. Cooking. Watering. Okay, watering. Lumber. Mining. Fire. Oh, we have farm. Farm. Sometimes farm and transport. 2 transporters. Do we need 2 transporters? Probably. 12. Yeah. Let's go check the chest upstairs and see what we're doing.
And yeah. Go floof.
What kind of balls now are you getting now from Vixie?
It's still just the blue ones, but it's more. Have to get it to 2 stars to get the green.
Right.
3 stars will give me Giga, and 4 will give me Hyper.
Okay. I want to make the valet stop farming because I have a lot of shit, dude. 17 tomato seeds, 8 wheat seeds, 15 potato seeds, 5 lettuce seeds, and 18 carrot seeds. I think I'm good. What do you think?
I think you're good too.
Well, actually, I'm missing one. We don't have any onion seeds.
I have acquired a couple of them, but they're not good enough for a farm, though.
It doesn't matter. I don't even have that shit unlocked.
Yeah, it's a while before you get onions. I think onions are literally.
Oh my god! I literally have 7 onion seeds in my other chest. Don't know where I got them, but I fucking have them.
Maybe the ballet. And for some reason they put them in that chest. Oh, this dungeon opened up 2.5 minutes ago.
Takes all her breath, now let me go. Iron, noise. I don't remember why I wanted it, but I have it. A fridge, maybe? Don't need it right this minute, but I could.
Go floof, murder floof.
Oh right, I wanted it for this. Oh shit.
Gotta pick that one up. Oh, I didn't see that one.
Bright. I need 9 more paldium fragments. It was only a kiss.
I think he was big on me. Oh, missed. Sniffing, maybe.
Go. Paldium fragment. Oh, I need to get a head start on burning paldium. I need a water pal. Or somebody capable of watering. I have.
It's annoying how, like, useless, well, not useless, but like how watering becomes the least essential spell skill. But it's so annoying to get a spell that's even remotely decent at watering early.
King is pretty good, but
Yeah, pancake is pretty good. I want Gelroy and Jelly yet. Not even just for the partner skill, but because they're cute together.
they are adorable.
And their partner skill makes them even better at watering.
I think I'm just gonna get another fucking King at this point.
Yeah. And that will be the annoying thing is they'll take up 2 slots to have both of them.
I don't care. I have 2 transporters right now. I don't need 2 transporters.
I'm talking about the Jolver and Belliet combo.
Oh. Thing. The Doomud is pretty good at watering for early.
Oh yeah, yeah, true. It is pretty good at watering.
I was supposed to say. Get on the ball. Get on the ball.
Yeah.
Get on the ball.
Oh, true.
Mine, I'm out. Thank you guys. Goodbye. I don't care about you. Don't care. Goodbye.
No. I've fallen and I can't get up.
Sucks. I know you left me frozen by the stairs. Surprised they let me know she cares. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go to that way shrine. The tall one, the watchtower that you're nearby. I saw you on the map. I'm gonna go to the watchtower.
Oh, the one by Harold. Oh, with Harold.
Yeah, I just need that entire area unlocked on my map for reasons. My reasons being because I want it unlocked on my map.
Yippee! That's all the reasons you need.
However, I'm gonna kill this fucking bounty dude because he killed me at some point, or almost killed me.
I don't know. I guess what about that Gigas? Ain't that big sea book goes ahead.
Nice, I did my first bounty.
Nice. So it begins. Yeah. I am so in love with.
And I'm gonna be gathering pals too. Not pals, peaches.
Peaches.
And technically, I guess I get both. But... Come on. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
I don't know what I'm ready for, but I'm ready.
I'll show you. Zoe Rains, Diary 1.
Oh.
Zoe Rains, Diary 1. I don't have a family. My father disappeared a long time ago and I've never seen my mother's face. The only ones who raised me are the guys in Grisbolt. That's why I know I have no choice but to keep living in this tiny little world. They all chase pals around with their guns. They capture the ones they hurt and sell them to those weird other guys. In return, they get food. They even share it with me. That's why I don't go hungry. I don't think any of those guys really care about me. They just keep me alive because I'm the daughter of their boss. I still think that even though I'm the boss now too.
Okay, so she inherited like a mafia empire.
What?
Yes, a yakuza. Group. She inherited it somehow.
Want you on my team. I need you. Get her. Be my friend.
Go flute, murder.
Why am I on fire? Fuck.
Flute? Should we be back in that one? Okay. Whatever you want, flute.
Incineram not. Incineram is mine. Not
I wonder what Zoe thinks of us killing, like, every syndicate down. Murder. Murder, murder them. They don't deserve life.
Oh no, my doggo died again. My Lee's punk. He is a philanthropist. He likes the booty. What the fuck? This guy just spawned back already? What the hell?
Who did a boss?
No, it's fucking Incineram and the Syndicate dude.
Oh yeah, they respawn really quickly for some stupid reason. And I don't know why.
Like, I understand if I left the area, but I literally just finished killing the last dude and then they respawn immediately.
Yep. Don't know why. Don't ask me why. But it's just how they're feeling, I guess. They want to be alive. They want to be people.
I wanna see him dancing.
Around on those, what do you call them? Tentacles. Oof, no poison blast. Okay, Floof. We will take you to the end. You will kill the calamity, Floof.
So, okay. Now I'm gonna look at the tower. Now that I have helped Harold.
What? Huh? Oh, I gotta go up. Okay. Like, huh, this is a dead end. It's wanting me to go up a cliff. How dare it want me to climb?
What the fuck?
Down the wall.
Is this you, Bushi? I knew it. I left you alone for 2 seconds and you chopped a whole ass tree down.
If you don't have that much range, okay, with that attack you will.
Purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain. Hello? Who is it? Who could it be? Who is it?
Is that? It's Elvis. It's definitely Elvis.
Oh my goodness, I had no idea that you liked being in here for whatever reason. I don't know why. I'm putting my hoodie back on.
Someone over here for chicken.
There's no chicken.
I fed him chicken once, now he must be in this room forever.
He's like, this is where the chicken lives now.
It just randomly appears in the room, and that must mean I must be in room. At all times, or else I might miss chicken.
Yeah. Don't know if there's chicken in here now, but there could be chicken at some point, and I'm not missing it.
Yes, that's the bag that had the chicken in it. Yes.
This is such a goob of a cat.
He's addicted to a thing called chicken. I'm addicted to a thing called love. I mean chicken.
Purple rain, purple rain.
Chocolate rain. black market here. Can I take your knees?
You gotta be black.
Huh?
I'll just leave me alone.
Huh?
I was like, why is he gotta be black? That's a joke. She's a black marketeer. I know why. It's just what happens. I get deluded.
This game thinks all criminals are black.
No. Can't even ride my freaking
Curious
tire
about the
now.
history of like black being referred to as evil because it's been referred to
Like
for-
darkness.
Yeah, like darkness and
The dark and the light, kind of like
people scared of the dark, so scared that they
life
they're
gives
scared of-
you. The light gives you life. Sun, vitamin D makes you happy.
Yeah, vitamin
Makes
D.
flowers grow. Tree nature things.
Probably extends from like the fear of like nighttime, winter, like
Imagine living in Alaska.
monster creatures that would come and kill people in the night because reasons of animal hungry, human food.
The cat likes
Night
human
really
food.
scary stuff. I probably should have gone back. And they're gonna take time. Honestly, by the time we hit level 80, with the amount of books we're gonna be getting, we might actually get every skill. Like everything in the tech tree.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
The progression just seems so much better at this.
It does. Like I'm actually messing with everything at different levels. I like to be able to I'm like, okay, I'm here. I can make the sphere workbench. Did that. You know, like, do I want the antique desk set? No, I think I'll pass on that. Wall torch? No, I'll probably get something later. I'm not super fucked about it being dark. Megasphere, let's go ahead and grab that because we can go ahead and make those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just on standard XP rate, you're skipping 90% of the content. The main things you need are the benches, just so you can make the stuff to make the next bench.
I have
And the
also,
furnaces for the same reason.
I also have the ability. Ooh, not yet. There's a certain pal I have not captured at level 13 and level 14. And those two pals I need to catch so I can get a saddle for them. Or some kind of whatever for them. So I must find out what levels those are.
Probably Jolthog. Well, I mean, it might be one.
Joltog doesn't have a saddle.
Oh no, yeah, that's right. They removed his gloves. Oh, level 14. You can get the Palworld commencer. Nice.
Do you know what pal is at level 13 and 14?
No. Oh yeah. Hey cat. Just because you go under the desk doesn't mean chicken appears above the desk. Just because you rub against my legs doesn't mean I have chicken.
13 is a Tansy Ignis, and level 14 is a Univolt saddle.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Ooh. Need that. Probably don't need that. Tentacles. This is actually going to be really good. I can actually use them.
Yeah, right? Ooh, next level I get the wheat plantation and the mill. And the wooden board.
Ooh.
And the beginner fishing set.
What level are you? 15?
14.
Hold on. Okay, nice, I caught up. Hey, Coach Banker. All it required was for me to play the game and kill bosses and explore dungeons.
Yep. Pretty much.
I don't think at any point there will be a massive level difference between us. At most, a few levels. Not gonna be like I go out on an exploration adventure and then I'm 10 levels above you.
Yeah. Have you been building?
Not too much. I mean, I've built like a house, built some structures, but I have not been building as extensively as you.
With my air model. I put it in there.
Take the Luffy's level 13. He's beautiful. Good morning, Jessie.
Jessie.
Jessie, come back.
Jessie, come back.
You can
Blame it
blame it
on me.
on he got
On Tristan.
on me. On Tristan. On Tristan. I don't know. I do that, Jessie. Would have a lot less of interesting stories
40
about
stream streak. Jessie is killing it.
Jessie is Aiko nerd.
Oh my gosh.
She knows everything about you, Bella. Even that thing that you said you didn't tell anyone else. She knows.
Oh no.
That was.
Not that thing.
I mean, are you saying you're hungry?
My tummy's hungry.
My tummy's telling me weird things right now.
My
It's
tummy's
like
telling me.
hungry, but I don't know.
But I want
It's hungry, but it's hungry, but
for butt.
sure, I guess.
Alright, I'm going back. Hold on. No, I have to put my dead pals in the fucking thing, don't I? Roxy, the fuck? Why are you dead?
I imagine what Jessie's doing is getting her morning coffee.
That's fair. It's smart. Smart decision. Alright, we ready to see what was in that dragon egg?
Yes. Size was huge.
Yeah.
Oh, big.
Relaxosaurus.
Relaxosaurus. Oh.
With burly body.
Could be a good early worker. Or an early fighter.
Ooh, watering 3, transporting 3.
Yeah.
Duma, you're retiring. And by retiring, I mean you're moving to the farm.
Give me that high quality oil. Go Floof, murder. Floof, you can't use that dragon of breath from that far away. Use that skill, I'd actually hit it. Floof, aggressive mode, murder everything. Go after this. Oh no, I dropped a hypersphere.
Relaxosaurus. The farm's upstairs. Bruh. There are campfires down here for the eggs. Stop spraying water on them. Bruh. Go away. Oh my god. That's so dumb. Okay. Alright. So, I'm gonna do the electric egg. I want the electric egg. It's probably gonna be something stupid. That'd be cool if it wasn't something stupid. It'd be cool if it was something cool. What?
I'm something stupid.
Stop that self-deprecating bullshit. I'll punch you in the nose.
Never. Oh, good, good. I'd already jumped off the cliff while I was going to backstep to avoid, well, to back up enough to use its attack.
Do I want to use Grin Tail right now?
Roof did not kill himself.
I know.
Yay! The thing what?
What would beat up Linares?
Linares is normal, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think Linares is pure normal. So anything dark.
Alright, I'll bring Octavia and Octavia and Plum. I don't like
Quite simply, the level gap could be the problem.
could be. I don't really care. Like I'm just gonna be trying to throw balls at it.
True. So it being dark would actually mean it'll take less time. Well, take more time to die. Do damage, hold aggro. Traumatized.
Something fell over here. I don't know if it was a meteor or a supply drop because it happened whenever I was on a loading screen. Oh,
Off at the top of the hill.
I'm running up the top of the hill.
I'm running home.
Run up that hill.
And through the
Innovator. I'm gonna skip it. I don't need an innovator. Right now, I'll get it later. Well, I don't know. Maybe I need a innovator. I don't know what they do.
They are good dark damage pals. They buff guns.
Ah, not really helpful
I
for me.
believe they make it so the final bullet in a fully automatic gun does a lot more damage. I'd never had a fully automatic gun for it to actually be useful. But it is actually rather strong early dark time. Passive otherworldly selves is also okay. I do like how they have a church literally. Oh! Back in the hands, blue.
This bitch fucking hates me. I got the B-Guard and the Elizabeth. I know it's fucking possible, but this is a boss, so.
Yes, it would just. It's possible. You just need to traumatize it enough with fears. Don't.
Got it. 1% chance. Motivational leader and burly body.
Ooh.
Oh, everything's dead except for Herbie.
That's just gonna be, good in party cow because it will.
Boost my weight by 300.
Yeah, boost your weight, permanent, as long as it's in the party, and then. As long as it's in, the party, then you.
1%
have
was the
motivation
chance.
leader all the time.
1 fucking percent.
The Pelsphere spam. can beat anything by throwing enough pal spheres at it, as long as it can be caught. Nope, we need pal souls. Floof, get enhanced even more. You're probably gonna have shit stats, but I'd love it if you didn't.
Can we
Also,
go?
order
Can we order
deposit.
some food?
We can order some food indeed.
I'm getting tired.
You getting tired? Me too, honestly. I will say that if we want to have a nap, the timer will be paused for today.
I know.
And then once we wake up and continue, the timer continues. That's if we want to have a nap.
Oh. Part of me really wants to have a nap. Part of me really wants to have a nap.
Same. Part of me wants to as well. We'll get some food.
So who's gonna be upset if we take a nap right now? And then we just come back.
Jesse, will you be upset if we take a nap?
And then we come back.
We'll order you something, yeah.
Yeah, later though.
Yeah.
Just waking up. Okay, fair enough.
We did get started quite early today.
We did. We're trying to fix our sleep schedule, but like, only really so much you could do.
This is probably going to help a lot to fixing the sleep schedule. Let me just make sure I've got the base pals I want.
We were up so late last night.
We were just... Oh, cool.
Did you just get a visitor?
I did just get a visitor. It's a...
I'm not gonna read out. I don't have the energy.
Edison Cinera, amazing base pal.
I'll read out. I read out this guy.
He's laughing.
You get a later.